Good morning and welcome to another episode of The Unlock Show. My name is Tracy Wilson and it is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you today. I'm just going to do a little bit of a sound test. Hi, Hayley.
Hi.
Hayley just joined us, so I'm just going to make sure that we can hear her okay and that we've got everything kind of locked and loaded, ready to go today. We are actually live right now. We're going to have a bunch of our viewers join us in just a moment. I'm pretty excited about today, actually. Like Hayley's interview or her coming on the show couldn't be at a better time, and I kind of really want to pick her brain, not just for you guys, but I'm going to be a little bit selfish today and do it also for myself, because as you get a little bit older and as life kind of takes over and you become this entrepreneur, you sort of don't tend to spend a lot of time on yourself. So I'm hoping that Hayley is going to be able to give us some amazing tips, tricks, and hacks that are really going to help us to get into some healthy habits and create holistic happiness. So welcome to the Unlock Show. Like I said, I'm Tracy Wilson. We're going to be on here with you for about maybe 45 minutes today. I've got the amazing Hayley Hobson with me. She is a certified life coach, a health coach. She's actually a former lawyer, current badass wellness babe, and she's absolutely obsessed with plant magic, entrepreneurship, and life hacks. I know she's got a super busy schedule, and she literally, timing couldn't have been more perfect. As soon as I went live, boom, Hayley was here. So welcome to the show, Hayley. Awesome to have you here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good.
So welcome. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a rundown really on kind of the people that we have in our group. So we're currently streaming live on about 8 different platforms. We have a group called Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life. And guys, if you're not inside of that group, you want to make sure that you head on over to Facebook and get yourself inside of there, because not only do I have my show in there, but there are multiple other shows. And we really help people to thrive across their business and their family and their life. So as all of our shows, Hayley, we're live. We'll have people coming in with comments and asking us questions. So you'll see them come up on the right-hand side of the screen. Guys, giving you guys a little bit of an insight into how this all works too. I will just manage all of those. So if you've got any questions for Hayley today or myself, make sure that you put them into the comment section below, and we will make sure that we get to them. And if you're listening to the podcast, don't worry if we're giving away all sorts of bits and bobs today. We'll make sure that all of those are also listed inside of the comments section. So like I said, the Unlock Show is all about making sure that I bring to you these amazing guests that allow us to live our lives in a way that is unlocked, that is with nothing holding us back, so that we can actually thrive across our business, in our family and our life. And this is a little bit different today. So Hayley is also, really skilled when it comes to the business side of things. This is kind of taking a little bit of a different angle. And we're really going to be talking about health and wellness and why it's so important for us to look after ourselves, particularly when we are entrepreneurs, because we tend to, woman and entrepreneur, you put those two things in the same category, and all of a sudden, our own health and our own well-being sort of gets to, we push them down, and we want to make sure that we really rise those to the top, and hence the reason that I've got Hayley here today. So welcome to the show, and I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with you. So tell us a little bit about you and changing from being a lawyer to doing what you're doing now. How did that all come about?
I think I was one of those people that let my parents guide me too much on what my profession would be. Mm-hmm. And so I went to undergraduate degree here in the US, right outside of Boston. I went to Brandeis University, got my undergrad degree, and was on that path that I think that everybody expected that I would be on, to be an attorney. And I did. I went to law school and I got a law degree, and I actually practiced for 5 years. And I woke up, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Not only practiced, but I was in one of the most sought after corporate bankruptcy boutiques in the entire city. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I could, go up to my office, and I had incredible views of Century City and all of Los Angeles. And at 26, 27, 28, 29 years old, I was making a 6-figure salary. I had the dream job. And I walked in one day and I'm staring out the window and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't where I want to be. This is not what I want to be doing. And I think in all of our lives, we have those moments, but we're afraid to act on them. And I think I had been feeling that for a while. And I realized that I was living someone else's dream, not my dream. And so I was in my free time, I was competing in triathlon. This was about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And I had just started to get into Pilates as a form of movement therapy for my body. Now, this is like in 1999, you guys. This is like before Pilates was a fad. And yoga, by the way. And I just decided to quit my job and become a yoga and Pilates teacher. So needless to say, my parents were super psyched with that choice. Mm-hmm. But I was a motivated, kind of type A person. And I think that they believed in the bottom of their heart that I would still have success with no matter what I did. So that's what I did. I basically built a brand new career at like almost the age of 30, which now seems like baby, right? But back then you think like, oh my gosh, my life is over if I started over right now, right? And so that's what I did. And the last like 20 years, I really believe that the journey that I've been on has been not only to find my own success. And by success, I don't mean just financial success, but I mean success in my relationships, wealthy friendships, meaning like friendships that are like human beings in my life that I love and trust and want to spend time with. Being in an environment that I love to live in, being able to raise my children and have time for them, finding foods that are nourishing for me, waking up without an alarm clock, feeling energized. And I spent such a long time doing that because I needed to. I had such anxiety in my body and I had insomnia. I was on sleep medication for 15 years when I made this decision. And I had digestive unrest. I had what was diagnosed as irritable bowel and inflammatory bowel my entire life. I had a stomach ache for like 40 years. So I believe it was this path that I had to walk along and this journey that I had to be on to not only heal my own physical, emotional, and mental health, but also to be that guide and that mentor for other women, entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs who wanted the same thing.
It's really interesting that you would have kind of that moment where, like you said, a lot of people grow up and they fall into jobs or they go down a pathway because it's trying to please other people, trying to please their parents. It seemed like the right thing to do. The noble thing to do is to be, a lawyer. I'll be a somebody when I'm a lawyer. And then walking into that and feeling almost like empty and numb and having that moment of looking out the window and going, oh my God, this is not what I had dreamed my life would be about. And then taking that that bull by the horns and going, well, now I'm actually going to do something about it. It takes an immense amount of courage to actually do, not just to think about that, but then to actually do something about it and go and recreate yourself into something that you're actually really passionate about and now able to help, millions and millions of people all over the world to reclaim their health and their wellness so that they can live, this holistic life where they're happy in all facets, not just in one. So I'm really interested to know, like, as far as particularly for entrepreneurs, when you're starting out in entrepreneurship, like you get very tunnel focused around, man, I've just got to get this business going. And often when you have that, when you've made a decision to change your career and go into something completely different that is almost against the grain of what your family think you should be doing or your friends and everybody else, to then have that pressure of having to recreate yourself, but also be able to sort of sit back and go, well, I'm going to do this in a really holistic manner without kind of like burning myself out and killing myself. How did you do that? Or was there a process of like kind of starting your business and then finding that I actually need to work on myself as well as this business?
Well, I think I did burn myself out, to be honest. And so like I said, I was a person, I said kind of type A, but I'm totally type A. I'm like a 3 on the Enneagram, I'm like a red when it comes to colors. So I did burn myself out, and I, set up my Pilates business away, my yoga business. And like, I was on this, like I got to get all the clients and I have to have everybody coming in. And, I within about 8 months, I got to tell you, I was pretty much making what I was making as an attorney. Like I had gone fast in that business, but I taught for about a decade, and I realized that I just didn't want to be doing that forever. So then it was like, okay, now what am I going to do? And I got burnt out from that business really quickly. And mostly because I felt like there was a financial cap on what I was doing. So I was teaching teacher trainings, and I had affiliate links for products, and I was selling products, and I was doing online this and online that, and creating events. And then I found essential oils, and I started my essential oil business. I really what was important to me then was having a bigger stream of income, multiple streams of income. I had gotten married in that time period for the second time, and I really wanted to have my own income and my own business. And I didn't want to argue with my husband over like the extra pair of shoes that I wanted, or the manicure that I felt like I wanted to get, or buying organic fruit or not organic fruit. So I was really on this mission to become financially stable and independent. And my business, my third business, because it was being an attorney, then it was being a Pilates and yoga instructor, then it was health and life coach and essential oil entrepreneur, online business entrepreneur. That business grew really fast too. Within 6 months, I was earning 6 figures again. And honestly, within about 14 months, I was earning I had my business with seven figures. But I was burning myself out because I was working the candle at all ends. I was running competitively. I'd given up all 3 sports, but I was still running competitively. I now had a 2-year-old. I was being mom. I was managing some clients on the side because I didn't want to give up everything. Now I had this new online business that I was building. I was going through these different health certifications. I went through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I did a raw food certification. I did a life coaching certification. And I mean, you can see I'm like total massive overachiever, and I wanted everything yesterday. So I'm like, I'm backing up to this moment that I remember. It was about 9 years ago. Actually, it was about 9 years ago. And I'm sitting on the stairs in my home, mainly because I couldn't walk up. Like I was so sick, Tracy, that I literally couldn't get up the stairs. Like I was too weak to climb up the stairs. And I'm holding my then 2-year-old daughter, and she's freaking out because she can tell that I'm kind of freaking out internally, and she's crying and I'm crying, and she's scared and I'm scared. And I realized like I was literally grinding myself into the ground. And I had just gotten back from a if you want to call it a vacation. I was at my in-laws like for the winter break, Christmas holidays. But I had been very sick the whole week. I was throwing up for about a week, and I got back here into Colorado, and nothing was open. It's the week after Christmas. Like the whole world is closed down. I went into the urgent care. They put me on IV fluids, that I had a gastrointestinal virus or IBS, the same BS that I had been hearing my entire life. And I just knew at that moment that it was something deeper. And it wasn't just the physical. This was a moment that I had to literally change my life in order to get to that next breakthrough point. So I started calling doctors, and I found this holistic specialist here, like, but way up in the canyon, like 6 miles up. It takes 30 minutes to drive 6 miles. He only works Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 12, and books 6 months out, that kind of guy. And I think you could hear the desperation in my voice. And within like 3 days or 2 days, maybe even, I was literally lying on his table, and he checked my pulse, and he looked at my tongue. That was it. And he said, your body is in a complete state of fight or flight. Now, I know that we've all heard those terms before. I don't know that we really recognize how significant that is. When your body is in a state of flight or flight, that it cannot lower the cortisone level and you cannot stop the stress response, your organs start going into organ failure. And that is what was going on with me. My skin was turning gray. I'd lost 20 pounds. I couldn't stop throwing up. My stomach, pancreas, like the liver, like everything was shutting down. And so even though I'd heard it before from my husband, like, you need to calm down, or my mom, like, you need to rest, my whole life, at that moment, somebody else saying that to me, I just literally started bawling on the table. And I knew he was right. Like something in my gut, no pun intended, was like, all right, I have to make a shift right now or I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, that is, that is like a wow moment where you think, oh crap, like you say, if I don't do something about this now, then I might get to the point of no return.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where we kind of get to that point where you're at the brink and it's like, we don't want to get to that wow moment of I have to do something or this is not going to be good. How do you start to recognize before we get to that point that I should be doing something? Like I'm recognizing that something is kind of, maybe I'm not quite at that point of no return, but I recognize that I need to be doing something different.
Yeah, I mean,
when is that moment?
Anxious in your body, if you're feeling like you're spiraling in your thoughts, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you can't manage your own calendar, if you're feeling like there are too many things going on in your life, if you feel like you don't have time for all of the things, if you're feeling like you're either gaining weight or losing weight drastically, if you're feeling like your eyes aren't bright, your skin isn't bright, your hair isn't bright, you're not fitting into your clothes, you wake up, your alarm has to go off 16 times before you can get out of bed. Like those are all signs of depletion. And you've got, what I like to teach people, look, I can't tell when I don't know what everybody's like level is of, this is enough. But what I do teach my clients now, and those who follow me on my, Instagram account or my Facebook account or in my private free groups, or I've subscribed to my newsletter, like my mission right now is teaching people 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars are: 1, real nutrition in the body and making time for it. Like no matter what, where I am in the world, like my food always comes first. I will Google, I will research, I will pack, I will prepare. I will never be without proper nutrition. And I don't just mean like, a kale panini from Panera Bread. I mean, good job on the kale, but there's like so much sugar in the caramelized onions that they put on it, right? I'm talking about like really up-leveling your nutrition and having real food, no sugar, which just means like, there's just like a, if not now, then when disaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not having this constant crash and burn, like being able to monitor. So the second pillar after nutrition is being able to monitor your rest. So I'm talking about progressive relaxation. I'm not talking about like that Mai Tai that you're getting on the beach or that, vacation that you want to have in Mexico. I'm not talking about like, oh, tonight I'm going to have 8 hours of sleep. I'm talking about monitoring how your body is recovering and progressively relaxing. So I'll give you an example. I flew back from San Diego. We have another home there on the north coast of San Diego, North San Diego County. And I flew back last night. I mean, I landed at 5 o'clock. It wasn't late, but it seemed like 4. So when 9 o'clock came around, it was really 8. And I didn't get to bed until later than I normally get to bed. But I still had to wake up very early because my daughter has to be out of the house at 7 o'clock for school. So I didn't get the amount of rest that I normally plan for in my day. And I looked at my stats because I monitor. I have this ring. It's called a ring. And I looked at the app and it said, sleep. Let me just pull it up and I'll tell you what it said. I don't want to make it up. It was lower than normal. It was level of readiness was a 71. Not bad, but normally it's like a 85 on the low end to like 91. And my sleep factor was 83, not bad, but I usually have like a 91 to 95. And it said to me, it's not saying this now because I guess the notification is turned off, but it said, you have not recovered well. You may want to think about how to build recovery into your day today. So I had a workout planned. I was signed up for a class this morning at 8 o'clock, and I went into it knowing that I was going to use it as like a recovery workout rather than I'm going to smash it. I picked up lighter smash balls. I I didn't jump as far, you know? And then when I got home, we have a sauna in our house and a massage chair, but I mean, not everybody has that, but you can build other things in. Like I sat in each one for 20 minutes instead of jumping into the next thing on my calendar. Like I made sure that and I didn't grab a cup of coffee. I poured myself a glass of superfoods and a product that I use. It has a red juice in it with, adaptogens that lower the stress level. So it's the nutrition and the stress. We'll call it stress management by proactively relaxing, whatever that means to you, shutting off your TV at 8 o'clock instead of 9, reading a book instead of watching TV, wearing blue light glasses if you're in front of your screen. I have taught everybody that I won't text because this is what my posture is like when I'm texting. But instead I'll send a boxer message so I can sit up straight. Like whatever it means to progressively, for me, it's always using essential oils. What can I rub on my neck? What can give me more energy? And then the third pillar is productivity, like productivity hacks. As entrepreneurs, as women in business, we are only as successful as productive as we can be. And so we've got to learn how to be a ninja with our calendars. And it doesn't mean that emergencies aren't going to happen. It doesn't mean that we can't slide things around, but really plan and factor in the emergencies that are going to happen and the things that are going to upset us or upset our lives, not upset us mentally, but like upset, right? The things that are going to happen in our business, the fact that something's going to take 2 hours longer than it took, the fact that you're, going to turn on a live and then all of a sudden your Facebook doesn't work or whatever. Like there are going to be shit shows every day. I promise you, as an entrepreneur, every single day, there'll be something that happens in your life or your business that throws you off, but you have to plan that into your day and not stack and stack and stack and stack and stack, which not only burns you out, but then wears you out mentally, because you're expecting your day to go like smooth sailing and then that expectation isn't met. So those are the three most important pillars, in my opinion, is that nutrition, progressive relaxation, and becoming a productivity ninja so that you can get shit done.
I love all three of those. And I've got like heaps of questions for you now because I'm sure that our viewers do too. But I want to come back to one that one of our viewers was asking. How long did it take you to, obviously you were in a really critical state when you went to see, that doctor up the mountain. How long did it take you to recover, to get a handle on things?
You guys, it was a long time. I was in a state of crisis for about 4 to 6 months, where I literally at that point, not only was I teaching private clients out of my home, we had a private entrance off of one of the rooms in our house, but I also was managing the largest health, not resort, but fitness club in the Boulder area. And it was like a 40,000 square foot community. And I was the mind body coordinator. I had 35 classes on the schedule. I was managing 135 employees, and I was also teaching. I had to actually quit my job. I couldn't go to work for about 4 to 6 months. And so I made it a full-time job to get well. That's when I started to go back to school for myself. That's when I went to learn more about raw food. I started a juicing regime. This is, by the way, when there were no juice bars. This is a decade ago. It wasn't a thing back then. I was reading books. I was consulting with people. I bought a juicer. I was experimenting with recipes. I was trying new supplements. I got in my own nutritionist at the time. I was experimenting with essential oils. I was trying all the things, and even just the shopping for food and the dehydrating and the sprouting and the, all the chopping and the Cuisinart. It was a full-time job feeding myself, not to mention that nobody in my family would eat anything that I was making. So it was I was preparing all of this delicious, in my opinion, food. And I was all for naught, nobody was eating it but me. But I gave myself permission to back off for some time, believing that it would be okay. And then I started to take a couple of my Pilates clients and yoga clients back, one at a time, until I got up to back in the day, I was teaching 20 to 30 hours a week plus all the management. I think I got my schedule up to maybe 5 to 8 hours a week and decided I wasn't going to do more, and started this other business. In the background, I was, designing my new website, and I was, now a certified health coach. And, but then that business, it took me a while. This is the funny thing. And I'm not really sure what the question is, like, how long did it take me to be where I am? Because when you guys ask me, like, how long did it take me to be where I am in my business? Well, it took me 40 years because that was my journey of where I was before and where I got to. It took me 40 years of learning how to write and learning how to connect and tell stories and communicate and write copy and learn social media and build my own website and try all of these protocols and hacks that I now deliver to everybody else. And then even after the last 10 years, like now I'm 50. So, even the last decade of me building this career, sure, I got from 0 to 7 figures in 14 months, but it took me the 40 years before to get there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's probably more around if somebody's feeling not well, and how long would it take them to get well? I know you've got a program that's kind of like 6 weeks, right? So tell us a little bit about that, because one of the things that I hear often, and I can say this for myself too, is that there is so much information out there. Most people want to feel well. They want to be, feel good in their body. They want to have holistic wellness. They want that. The problem is they don't always know where to go to get that. And that because there's so much information, the general public have become so confused with what's right to do. Should you be doing, what diet is the right thing to do? Don't do a diet, get a lifestyle program, blah, blah, blah. So how do you, where do you start, and how can you start to implement some of these, particularly around the nutritional piece? Because that, to me, from what you've spoken about, was like you made that a huge priority in your life. You made it, set an intention, you made that a priority, and almost it became, like you said, the full-time job. How can somebody who's already busy implement some of, particularly the nutritional side of things into their life? How can they do that so that their family doesn't kind of go, I'm not eating any of that stuff?
Right. Well, it is a lot, and there's a lot of information out there. And I have so much information out there between my blog and my podcast and all the courses on my site and this and that. There's a lot of stuff out there. I think that what you want is I think what you're asking is you want a place where you can consolidate that information. So somebody's done the learning curve for you. So when I say to you, I'm not just talking about the basics, getting your fair share of complex carbohydrates or healthy fats or proteins in your body, or making sure there's greens on your plate. I'm talking above and beyond, where you are ditching the basic Einstein's bagel and cream cheese and instead making yourself a delicious avocado toast with, turmeric sea salt on top and sprouts, and you're getting the additional vitamins and minerals and omegas and fatty acids and antioxidants from your food, because we're not getting enough of that from our food these days. You're right. I do have a course. It's a very simple 6-week course that I created. And most of the courses I created, I didn't create because I wanted to have a business selling courses. I created them because I was getting so many questions and I didn't have the time anymore to work one-on-one with clients. So I don't know if this will work, but I'm going to type this into the chat here. You can tell me if that went in there. I don't know if it's a private or a public chat.
I will grab it.
Okay. So it's HayleyHobson.com is my website. And my name is spelled the old fashioned way because I'm 50, Hayley, not the new millennial way, like Hailey, but it's HayleyHob, as in boy, Hobson.com, HayleyHobson.com /healthy-habits-holistic-happiness. It's in the chat. And it's 6 weeks of teaching you those 3 pillars. And it's not just basically teaching. I've got videos. Each module has a video, but I'm literally delivering you the guides and the products and the recommendations and the menus and the recipes and all of the things that I've discovered that work for me and others in these 3 pillars. So whether it's, you're talking to a type A who could never meditate, and now I never go a day without doing a 10 to 20 minute guided, full transparency, guided meditation in the morning and even in the evening. But it's up level. I've got like the blue light therapy. I've got the sound beats in my ears. I'm like, lowering the cortisol levels while I'm doing it. So I have all of those hacks for you in this course. I also have a new membership that I'm launching literally like next week. This is a secret. I haven't even told anybody this. It's going to be
like secrets.
I don't even have a link for you. But if you want to, you can actually participate with me this week, starting on Thursday. I'm going to be doing a time management. It's called Reclaim Your Time Challenge. And it's free. It's totally free. And I'm going to be teaching people in a week how to take your time back. I'm going to be giving you all my hacks. And I'm going to type it in the chat again. It's HayleyHobson.com. HayleyHobson.com/reclaim your time challenge. Well, 7 days. I'll do a live every morning. Obviously, it'll be recorded. It's on my live. You can watch it whenever you want. I'll give you a little hack to do every day. By the end of that 7 days, you will be a ninja at your calendar. And when you can get rid of the non-essentials, the non-priorities, to find time to feed yourself well, relax well. It just got very dark here very fast. I didn't even prepare extra lighting or anything. I hope you guys can see me. It's like all beautiful and light.
We can see you well. You're good.
Yeah. Here it is. You can participate in this challenge with me and you'll be a ninja. Like I said, you'll be a ninja at your calendar by the end. We'll be prioritizing and we'll be setting up your calendar for the next couple of months. So all your non-negotiables, for me, my non-negotiables are morning meditation. They are morning movement, some type of workout. They are my skincare routine. That's why I look so fab at 50, right?
Absolutely.
They are my food, my nutrition, my cacao latte that I like to make in the morning. Again, my evening meditation. Notice that none of these are work related, right? I fit them all in. I want to be done with my workday I know we're on your time right now, but usually 6 o'clock Mountain Time, like my computer's shut down for the evening. I've got my weekends with my family and I'm still able to run this business the way that I am because I know how to time block like a ninja. So if you guys do sign up for the Reclaim Your Time Challenge, at the end of it, I will give you another opportunity to work with me. And it's like almost free in this new membership. And we'll be addressing all the pillars. Well, every month there'll be a different digital magazine and lives and special guests on a different topic and a different pillar. So the first one might be on rest management. And then the second one might be on finding your balance. And the next one might be on hydration, whatever. We're going to go through. I've got a year's worth of topics. I've got a year's worth of guest speakers. I've got a year's worth of awesome giveaways. And I've got a year's worth of awesome time that we're going to be spending together. So those are the ways that you can up level your nutrition with all the recipes. You can take the course, you can do the time challenge, you can do the membership, you can do it all. And again, this is like a glorified hobby to me. My business, my real business is I am teaching people how to use essential oils and how to build businesses with essential oils. And all this fun, like holistic happiness stuff is just a fun passion to me. So all of the fees are super low because I want to make it affordable and easy for anybody to join in and really take their body back. And what I've learned over the last couple of years is it's not just the physical. The reason I had the stomach aches, it's what's happening here. It's what's happening up here. That's why I went to become a life coach so I could coach myself, not even so I could coach anybody else. Like what is going on with our physical body, any pain we're having is a result of our mental health, our emotional well balance, and our food is directly affecting how our brain is working, how our cells are reproducing. So I want to give you guys the best ingredients and the best hacks so that you can do that too. And that you can wake up feeling amazing.
Love that. Thank you so much. Like our viewers will love doing that. And guys, I've put the link at the bottom of the screen right now. So HayleyHobson.com, Reclaim Your Time Challenge. So obviously go and head over there and make sure that you get, you get on Hayley's list and you start to reclaim your time. And like she said, she'll give you some more opportunity to work with her a little bit further down the track. So one of the things that I noticed actually was on your, it was on one of your podcasts, and you were talking about habits, because a lot of this that you speak about is about building in really healthy habits into our life, right?
Right.
And you were talking about don't start doing it on a Monday, which is what most people would start to do, right? We think, oh, Monday's coming around, I'll start my new thing, my new fitness regime, my new skincare regime, whatever it is, I'll start it on Monday. But I saw in a podcast that you were saying Monday is not the day to start. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I just think that any day is the day to start. It's not that I don't think Monday's the day to start, but I think that there's this mentality that I've got to do it January 1st, or I've got to do it the month, or I've got to do it on Monday. And then you go ahead and you start. And then by Tuesday or Wednesday, you say your new habit is, I want to get a little workout in every single morning. So the first morning comes up and you set your alarm and you're up and you're out and you've got it done and it's awesome. And the next day, same thing happens and you're a rock star and you're high-fiving yourself. And the third night, you had a project that you're working on. And even if I like to shut my computer down at 6, look, I mean, today I'm on till 6:38 right now. Like, we all have days that we work later, and up later I was last night because of the flight. And then you wake up the next morning and you're like, snooze. And then all of a sudden your habit isn't intact. Yep. And the next day you wake up and you're like, well, I didn't do it yesterday, so maybe I'll skip one more. And then all of a sudden you're talking yourself into why it's not necessary anymore. So I just think that there's this mentality with Mondays that sets us up for feeling like it's going to be a disaster, right? Like rather than like, I'm just going to start it today. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make myself jump these massive hurdles, like run an hour and a half, 7 days a week. But on Wednesday, the first day, I'm going to get up and I'm just going to walk my dog for 20 minutes. And then Tuesday, I'm going to go down and I'm going to do whatever for 25 minutes. And then I'm going to do the next thing for 30. And I'm going to back down the next day to 15 or take a day off. So it becomes reasonable. Like I remember with my meditation habit, I was like, I'm going to do it twice a day and I'm going to do it 30 minutes twice a day. And I was doing it because I'm type A, right? And then all of a sudden, after like 3 months, I was like, I hate this. Mm-hmm. And now I do it almost every single day, sometimes twice a day. But I'm like, hey, I did it yesterday. That's awesome. You know what? It didn't happen today. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's really interesting because today actually is the 50th episode of the Unlock Show with Tracy Wilson. So you were actually like we're now into season 3 of the show. And what's really interesting is like talking about habits, type A, I could put my hand up and say I would be in that category too, and would normally say, usually would go out and say, well, I want to do a show every single day. But I realized it's just not realistic, just not going to happen. And things happen in our lives where we need to make space for that. And so therefore I said, well, instead of doing it every single day, what can I actually commit to doing that I can fit into my schedule, that I know that I can do on a regular basis? And it was 2 days a week, and committed to that, 6 months ago. And now who would have thought when I did day 1 that I'd be 50 episodes in and have not missed a beat. So, what you're talking about in terms of like being very realistic about what it is that we can do and then committing to that and making it a priority is the key to making sure that you have stickability with whatever it is that new habit is that you're trying to create.
Yeah. And the thing is, Tracy, is it's also remembering that everybody's at a different phase in their life. Like you guys can't compare yourself to anybody else because no one is living your life but you. Mm-hmm. I have friends that are in their early 30s that have 3 young children that they're homeschooling right now. And I'm like, how can you compare yourself to me? I have one child who's 11, who basically is self-sufficient, another stepchild who's 19, who's in college. And my 11-year-old is in school she leaves the house at 7, doesn't come back till 4. So I can get done a lot more than you can with 3 children that are under 6 homeschooling them. Right. So you have to be realistic with each stage of your life. I mean, I was at that stage at one point, but then when I was trying to, remember, be a competitive runner, be a mom, be a wife, be a dog owner, manage a studio, teach my clients, I burn out because I wasn't the person I was when I was 29 years old and I was single and I had no one else to worry about but me.
Absolutely. And often I think we forget that. We forget because we start to compare ourselves to others, and we forget that we're on very different journeys and we're at different stages of our lives. And therefore new things can come into, you can bring new things into your life when you have space.
Right.
And just like my children are a little bit older now. Could I do all of this when they were younger? Probably, but I would have had to have, adjusted and moved a bunch of things around to fit this around three growing boys at the time. So you're absolutely right. It is being kind to yourself, making sure that you find the time, prioritize what it is that you want to, what it is that you want to do, and make your health and your wellness and your happiness a priority in your life. So guys, before we wrap up, I just want to give Hayley an opportunity to kind of share with us anything else that she wants to share to ensure that, we can live our lives unlocked. We can live in a place where we are utilizing these healthy hacks, making sure that we implement really healthy habits, and that you can live a life where you're really happy from a holistic point of view. Is there anything else that we haven't really spoken about today, Hayley, that you would love to share with our viewers?
I mean, just honoring yourself, that was a hard thing. That was a thing that was really hard for me. I don't know where that came from, but I felt like I always had to push. I always had to prove. If I wasn't busy, I wasn't productive. And I'm not sitting here saying like, just continue every single day to just give yourself excuses and decide like, well, I don't want to push myself. Like there's a difference between like the extreme on either end is what I'm basically saying. But give yourself permission to, let's just say, give yourself permission to feel your body. How do I feel today? Am I feeling emotionally tapped out? If so, why? Could you actually ask yourself and get into a little bit more of your subconscious to figure out what those patterns are? And if you can, manipulate your thoughts so that you can feel differently, so that you can act differently, or are you literally tapped out and you need rest, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a whole other topic that we probably didn't get to and probably won't tonight. But that's one of the things I also love talking about is like our actions are always a result of our belief system. Mm-hmm. And we have these patterns and beliefs and stories that we've been telling ourselves for years that make us feel a certain way. Like if you believe you're getting married, you're going to be super excited, right? And all the anticipation, you have all these stories about what your wedding and your wedding day and your dress and your honeymoon and all these things. And then the day comes and you're like, well, that was anticlimactic. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But yes, you can also tell yourself all this negative crap too, which isn't necessarily true. So it's learning how to understand both the conscious thinking that's going on right now, but also the underlying subconscious layer that's allowing you to feel emotion and then act upon it. Now that's a lot more juice. I probably shouldn't have even gone there because that's like a whole other layer to unpack. But give yourself permission to just feel.
Absolutely. And that is, I think, is a fantastic piece of advice, is even just taking that moment each day to go, how do I actually feel today? And listening to your body, which is something that, a lot of people don't even think about doing that. So it seems crazy, doesn't it? But we've got these messages coming. Our body is giving us messages on a regular basis, and often we ignore them. So I think that's a fantastic piece of advice, and thank you for that. So I'm going to wrap up today and say thank you so much for joining us. You've given us a massive amount of information. So those three things, guys, that Hayley's spoken to us about today: nutrition, just making that a priority in our lives, rest, and that progression, the aha moment around recovery. So making sure that we give ourselves enough time and that we're actually getting the level of recovery, rest that we need, and then those productivity hacks. And like Hayley has been so generous in giving us access to her Reclaim Your Time Challenge, make sure you head on over to her website and that you join that so that you can start reclaiming your time today, not on Monday. Start joining up today and making sure that you can get, you can get on with that. And then she'll provide you with some other opportunity to work with her a bit further down the track.
Yes, so definitely the challenge, you guys. It's going to be super fun and it's free. Okay. So if you want
love that
calendar, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been super fun having you here.
Super fun.
You're welcome. So, guys, we will be back again, or I will be back again this Friday with another episode of Unlocked. You just don't know. I've got a little bit of a surprise this Friday coming up. So join me 10 a.m. Australia, Brisbane time for another episode of the Unlocked Show. And like I always say, you must live your life unlocked. Why? Because there's just no other way. You just don't want to live it any other way. So go and have an amazing day. Make sure that you're listening to your body, like Hayley says, that you're actually taking steps to look after yourself and go and build yourself an amazing life and an amazing business. Have a great day. See you guys again on Friday. Thanks, Hayley.
Bye.